What do you guys take for allergies? Because if I take Benadryl right now, I'm guaranteed not to wake up.
Yeah, don't take Benadryl. I mean, that's
Benadryl
what they
is
told
So,
me.
it
Don't you
lowers
dare.
so if I
blood
really want to
pressure.
leave, that's what I would do. You know what I mean? But I know
Don't
not
you
to.
dare.
No, I won't. And if I do, I have that's my choice anyway. But I was just at Target and I'm like, I can't take anything that,
Yeah, I don't.
yeah. So
Benadryl
if I
lowers
don't
our
do
seizure threshold.
something, I end up with so much post-nasal drip
Yeah,
that, and with nocturnal seizures and
yeah,
sleep apnea,
yeah.
if I don't do anything, that's as bad as taking the Benadryl.
Right.
So,
So they
so I've
told
been
me to
bad.
take Claritin, but I don't know. Like other people have said not to. So,
Yeah.
but that came from my
I'm,
epileptologist, but I don't because
yeah, I can only take Claritin for 3 days.
okay.
I've already taken it for 5. And the last 2 nights I got less than 3 hours of sleep
What else
and
did
it
they
was
have?
interrupted.
What is that? Allerclear or something? What the hell
It
else did they
can't have,
have?
it's like, no, I can't take any antihistamines according to
I
the
don't even
pharmacy.
know what they even make. It's
So, yeah, I don't either. And I was wondering if anybody knew of any other magical something, but um so I'm very closely approaching that pollen phase where, my eyes are already crusting over in the middle of the day. So I know when I go to bed, I'm going to get that postnasal drip. If I
yeah.
start having a nocturnal seizure, even if it's just a little one, that extra saliva,
Oh,
yeah, that's how I woke up this morning. My mouth, I just got the left side of my tongue fixed. The right side of my mouth is so chewed up. Yeah, I literally am ready to go get some burger because I know exactly what that's going to do and I won't feel a thing.
oh, please don't.
But I'm sorry, but
Be careful.
I'm at the point
Gotta
where
be
I do not
something.
have care.
Oh,
Um, I don't know what to take. There's a couple different herbs. There's this, that, alfalfa.
first,
I'm allergic to alfalfa, so I'm not going to eat it.
I'm just waiting for action.
Yeah. So I'm
Waiting
like,
for action.
okay. But the doctors, they're like, we're not allergy specialists. We are your epilepsy doctors.
Well, give me a
And
specialist then.
my response was 2 words: for now.
Right. Yeah.
That's it.
I mean,
Because they
ha-
just sealed the deal.
has any
And they won't help me with anything. My primary won't help me. She told me to call my epileptologist. They won't help me because they are not allergists.
Well, then why don't they give you a what do you call it, a referral to a specialist?
For hay fever, all I
Yeah,
need,
but I don't
the
know
only,
what they're called, but there has to be somebody.
but here's the caveat. The only reason an allergist will not see me is I can't take the medications that they would prescribe because of my anticonvulsants. So they refer me back to my epileptologist, who sent me back to my primary care provider. And this started last October.
good.
It's almost,
And
That's
I
almost,
don't know what to
cool.
say, honey. I'm
I
infuriated
appreciate it,
here.
Tom. But, and this is where it's like,
Well, I don't know what
yeah,
experience you have with the American Epilepsy Society, but there are some non-antihistamine options
There's
through
options, honey. Yeah.
okay.
There's
Non,
intranasal steroids or
oh yeah,
cromolyn
that's the
sodium.
Flonase.
yeah, that was what I
What
was going to say.
sodium?
Did they try something like Flonase or one of the other
I have
nasal
Flonase. Yeah,
things?
this is
That's
for
one of the
when that
intranasal
isn't enough.
steroids.
Yeah, that's the Flonase. I use
Have
that
you ever heard of
every
something called
day.
nasal crom?
Nasal what?
Nasal crom, it looks like is the brand name of cromolyn sodium. And what
Oh,
I'm
okay. Yeah.
understanding, you've heard of the cromolyn sodium for as like a cell stabilizer.
No.
Well, apparently
Cromolyn
it's for
sodium.
preventing, cromolyn is spelled CROMOLYN, and apparently it's for preventing the release of inflammatory substances, but they use the example of
Wow.
like histamine from mast cells.
I
So
think
kind of a
it's
secondary
desire.
allergenic, I guess is maybe the category that they're trying to put it in. but that's
I'm looking
what I
at
found
this.
on the epilepsy website.
Thank you. Thank you, Kate. Let me see, because honestly, if I do their job for them and say, okay, this should help me and not
Uh-huh.
harm me, could you send in a script, or is it something
Right,
that's,
right. A medical assistant can get away with that, just getting their signature on something, so that can be done on a tablet. You're way more likely to get it done.
yeah, is it a prescription or?
That's what I'm trying to look up here. Cromolyn sodium obtained several ways. So they do have the nasal spray. I'm sure if you go for nasal Croms, any kind of brand name, they're going to want, hold up, available without a prescription. Nasal Crom to treat allergy
Okay.
symptoms like sneezing and runny nose,
Oh my
over-the-counter
God.
purchase,
Girl, I
Walgreens,
need to
CVS,
keep
or
you on
Amazon.
speed dial.
You are amazing, Kate. The two
You're
of us
amazing.
Hey, you're
together.
the best.
All right.
Walgreens and
There
Awesome.
goes.
CVS.
And I was just at Target. You guys want a fun Target story? Oh my God. I am 4'10", okay? And I went
Okay.
through the self-checkout. Well, I attempted it. And I didn't realize that flash for the camera was going to hit me in the left eye.
Oh God.
And I went to pick something up and I turned and boom, I went, oh, nope. And I dropped it right back in the cart, moved the cart away and went to a human, And my daughter's like, Mom, where did you go? What happened? I'm like, yeah.
Mm-mm.
I'm telling this cashier, I'm like, no. You might want to tell, I'm going to let Target know that they should put a seizure warning
Yeah.
because I was here and gone, and I think I'm okay. I think I'm okay. But yeah, I can feel it in my bones. You guys ever have that feeling? It's like I can just, every fiber of my body, I can feel it coming.
Yes.
And I'm like, oh, but that's psychogenic. It's
No,
psychogenic.
it's not.
Oh, it is. If I could show you, these medical records, it is disgusting. I had an agent tell me today that, and I won't say what organization, she's like, this is the most disgusting thing I've seen, and I'm getting ready to retire. And I think this may have made that day come closer. She said, I cannot do this. I cannot. I have to turn this over to somebody else because I've never seen anything so disgusting. And she has access to all of the medical records. And I'm like, yeah, I know. And the thing that, I have to find the positive. It's like, okay, maybe they are giving me the practice so that when I stand up for all of us and say, this is what's happening in our healthcare system. And, maybe that's what it is. They're just giving me more practice and more ammunition.
More
And
ammunition.
not even realizing that I'm going to turn guns
And
on.
more comrades to stand with
Yeah.
you.
Well, yeah,
come
I
on,
mean,
right? Have we all
exactly.
not had at least one doctor who was totally off base?
Oh yeah, I've had two that were good. Out of more than half a dozen. I mean, it's like 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 11. I've had 11 neurologists since 2007, only to find out that an epileptologist is a completely different story.
Yep. Took
Yep.
me 2,
So,
thank God, and 2 months. But
yeah.
yeah, I
Yeah.
got there
So
quick. Only because it was close. Just like
it
Pookie,
took
he's
me.
got Stanford only because it's close.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, even when I was in Buffalo, I had a hard time. Sorry, I'm moving around. I am so agitated. This is another thing. It's like, oh, it's coming. Oh, it's brewing.
The light messed you up.
Yeah,
Stanford's
it
been good
did.
to me.
What's up?
That Stanford's been good to me.
Yeah, exactly. I'm saying you got a
Oh
really
man,
good
right?
epileptology department there at Stanford, just like I
I
had
Yeah.
at
actually do not.
UCSF.
I don't have anything right now.
Yeah,
I
I
got a
There
know.
you
road.
I
go.
know. You got to get a new doctor.
I have
Yeah.
no epileptologist, no neurologist, no
Man,
psychologist.
you gotta get taken care of there. That's not
My
good.
appointment is on the 22nd with my primary, and then that's when I'm gonna tell them I need all that and
You
as soon
better.
as possible
Wow.
because
I don't know how you went this long without that, man. I can't.
I
I
I got one refill left, so I need to figure that out.
Yes.
Yeah. I can't go that
Yes.
long because something usually happens. And you know, and it's like here I am. I feel so bad for people around me, especially my daughter. You know, it's like this doesn't look like epilepsy. No, this is what epilepsy looks like. The stuff they show you on TV, that's not.
But
That
I
isn't
wa-
even.
I gotta say, the more we talk, the more the way normal people and even like some people with disabilities who just don't know about epilepsy, the way they treat epilepsy just like makes me so, so mad.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah. And
the other day I was just trying to read like a fan fiction about a show I like, and all of a sudden the author was just like, "Oh, this character has epilepsy," and I was like, "Huh?" And then they made them have a seizure, and it was the worst written seizure I had ever heard, full of tons of misinformation. Like, now you can't let a person having a seizure, swallow their tongue. Huh?
right, all the myth, all the
All the myths,
misinformation.
all the
Like
like,
they couldn't look it up on Google at
right?
And what
least.
about the
It's
publisher?
ridiculous.
I would leave that. I would leave that in the hands of the publisher and say you are spreading misinformation.
It
I
was
You're gonna
a
hate
kill
that.
fan fiction.
somebody.
There
You're
wasn't even
gonna
a
kill
publisher.
somebody.
It was just like I was just like made me so sad because I've been
Yeah.
enjoying fan fiction, and then that
I
happened. And I was like,
was I
I'm
was
never
But
reading
you
it
screaming
know,
again.
about
And it's
this
just like
with a
so
friend today
so
because
awful.
right. And
she
what was the
has
purpose of putting that in there, right?
Shock.
I was screaming about this with a friend today because she has celiac and I have multiple disabilities.
Mhm.
And so she was like, representation is so important. And I was like, yeah, I I was watching this movie that had a character with one um deaf ear, and she was like, oh yeah, because I have one deaf ear.
Mhm.
And we were just talking about how important it is to have representation,
Representation
and
is insanely important.
it was just really funny to me that
Mhm.
it's such a big deal in for any disability to be represented properly,
You
because
want to know something kind of that I find kind of sad? Um, the character that I connect to the most with a disability is one that's not even epilepsy. It's not even epilepsy. There's a show I watch called One, which is about talking objects, and then there's a character who has the disability of like an imaginary one of bread mold. That's and they like treat it like a real disability, and they treat it with such care, and that's the and whenever the fact that I don't even whenever I can't even go to like a character who's supposed to have epilepsy to like vent my frustrations and like connect
Right.
with, but I can connect with this bread who's dying of bread mold.
yeah, it's ridiculous. But
Our
I
minds
mean,
are definitely very unique. Yeah.
yeah, so I was telling my friend that I like lost my mind because there was a character in the Italian Job who was called Left Ear because his left ear um was the only one that could hear. His right ear was deaf. And I was like, "Oh my God, yay." And it's like
Yay.
the fact that that is so exciting, and
Yeah.
the fact that's ridiculous that I have to get that excited, you know? And
Well,
I've
it is
never seen a
it's
movie
insane.
with an epileptic character, let
Right.
It's
alone one
insanely
with one
exciting
that's
to see
written
a character.
correctly.
Yeah, that's
Like,
that's
it's
like you, but there's just like no epilepsy characters, and even when there are, they're written off of myths and stereotypes.
Yes, they're
yeah,
we
no,
are
it's
misrepresented. And
Yes.
so
it's
ridiculous.
like I had this conversation with somebody about, exactly this representation. And look at the LGBTQ community. Well, what if we did that for epilepsy?
Mhm.
Exactly.
Who's with me?
I'm
Technically they say our month is November and we have a nice little purple thing that is mistaken for breast cancer 99% of the time.
Oh, I
the other
know.
day.
And they've, yeah, the purple ribbon, well, I'm gonna stay with Prince and I'll just call it Purple Rain. But yeah, I mean, he had epilepsy.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
Vincent Van Gogh had
we,
epilepsy.
yeah. And
Yeah, and
look at the
everybody
art.
always acts like I'm sorry. Everybody just
That's
very
I mean,
okay,
talk about
Rachel.
outdated
everybody always
advocates
acts
much.
like Vincent Van Gogh was like had like this mysterious disorder that nobody knows about. And like it's a mystery what happened to him when he was diagnosed in life with epilepsy, and everybody
Yeah.
around him knew that he had epilepsy. We just don't like to talk about it.
People
Right.
So
And
just
his
nobody knows.
self-portrait.
understand it. Like, I think I told this story last time. Like, I had a
Mhm.
seizure when I was waiting for an MRI with my wife, and
Oh
everyone
yeah.
flipped out, and my wife was just sitting there like, this is a thing, this happens.
This
Like,
This is a
why?
daily
normal.
thing for us, right?
Yeah.
And they
Unbelievably,
freak.
this is 80% of the neurological problems in the world.
Yes,
Yay!
epilepsy
Did
is the
you know
most
that?
common neurological
Hey, come
condition.
on, people.
And I mean, seriously, and like Reese just said, how is it that medical professionals are freaking out when a patient has a seizure in a medical facility? The fuck? And you're telling me that I'm the one with the diminished cognitive ability? The fuck? I call that chosen cognitive bias. That is a very intellectual way of
Oh,
saying you're an ignorant
I've
asshole.
done
But
a bit of research on
Oh
how
yeah.
how people with epilepsy have been treated through the ages, and it's just always in the past. I think I said this last week, but in the past it was just always a
Okay,
shameful
we forgot.
thing. Yeah,
yeah,
it's not kosher
and
to say you have epilepsy. And at one point, they even like stopped in the dawn of eugenics. Epilepsy was one of the things where if you have it, you're not allowed to breed. You're not allowed to
right,
have
you're not merit. You don't
yeah,
have merit. Yeah,
yeah,
Oops.
and I feel like nothing changed except that everybody just decided that we have to be a little bit nicer.
yeah. Oh, the
Like it's
inclusivity.
still
Yes.
shameful to have it,
And
but
why
like, just be a
why
little.
has it in history, in the history of civilization, there's been both sides of the coin, but most commonly, it's something that's been shamed. It's like,
Yeah,
why are people with epilepsy being shamed? Why? Oh, the same reason that somebody who had another sexual preference, okay, I get it. That's not my choice. I don't need to know what you're doing, you know? But like in
yeah.
the 70s, in the 60s, in the 70s, like that concept of eugenics, my parents absolutely refused to accept the idea that I could have gotten epilepsy from my head taking out all the back windows in the station wagon. They refused my treatment my
Oh,
entire life. And here I am. You should see the CT of my head. I almost threw up when one of the doctors, they're like, we don't know what to tell you other than you need a new neurologist. You need to get out of there. And I'm like, I've seen all the doctors here. There's two left in the entire city. So they take my insurance. And I'm like, I'm not interested. But it literally looks like a speckled leopard from all the ischemia in my brain. From what causes that? Lack of oxygen. How did that happen? Psychogenic seizures don't make you stop breathing. And
Right.
I've had it happen so many times that is so evident on my brain now. But that's just clinical evidence. We'd rather say that I have psychogenic non-epileptic seizures and I'm supposed to be okay after I'm just trying to find a safe antihistamine and my doctor is telling me to hit the road and thinking that, oh, does that make, I just feel it's like, does that make them feel that they have dominance over me? Or
You hope not.
I think so. I truly think
Yeah.
so. The way they talk to me, they talk to my psychiatrist. We had a conference call once where they talked to my psychiatrist and my therapist for 15 minutes. And then I came on and my primary care provider, who was on the other end of this conference, thought it was just me and my therapist. And then my psychiatrist shared that with my then neurologist, who turned out to be a best friend to the primary care provider. So they had to submit this for review because this woman sounded like a Dr. Jekyll and Hyde. She was one person talking to the medical professionals and a totally different character when I got on the phone. And it was so distinctive, it was nauseating. And I'm like,
Gross.
so yeah, I think they are trying. It's like there's some kind of a blacklist and I gotta find it.
Ew.
And or they're gonna have to fix it. But 5 years of this, and after saying all I need is to know what I can take without, well, don't take diphenhydramine. I didn't ask you what I can't take. I asked you what I can
take.
Don't take this. And message after message, don't take that.
Yeah.
What can I take? What can I take? What can I take? Fuck
Well,
off.
that's for you to figure out, according to them.
Yeah,
Yeah.
right.
I'm like, why
Sure,
am I
keep trying
contacting my
things.
provider? But no, they told me that I'm going to have to find out for myself.
That's
Okay.
okay.
I've been telling them I'm not sleeping. I've got this thing going on in my spine. I tore up my shoulder. I'm not sleeping. I'm not sleeping. And now I need an antihistamine, and they told me to take Benadryl. Okay. I trust my doctors. I take their why.
Don't
Why?
you dare take any Benadryl.
Don't.
But they told me to.
No.
They told me to.
No.
Oh, but wait.
Yeah, they suck. I mean,
Do you know I did that to a neurologist once, and he was just blah, 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 blah. And I'm like, I know my diagnosis. I know I know my diagnosis,
yeah.
And he's like, blah, 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 blah. Hey, mister. Hey, mister. Hey, mister. You hear me, mister? Hey, mister, you hear me? Boom, that got his attention. Okay, now that I got your attention, can we actually have a conversation?
Right. Because
Well, what was that? Did you just have a
not
seizure?
freaking.
No, I think you. Yeah.
God, I hope
No.
there was a medical assistant in the room.
I
Hey,
hear
mister.
people.
No, there were cameras, and they referred me over to psych. But yes, that's what I've been
Did they
doing for 5 years. Yes, they did.
Oh my
You should
God.
Oh, it's time to
see.
get out of
I
Rochester.
have 3 notebooks full of their bullshit, and they figured, well, what are you gonna do? Oh, I didn't even have to print it. Look at that. I didn't know the state could just open my records. Oh. But yes, I have printed copies, especially of their bullshit, and highlighted and everything. I'm like,
Good.
yeah, okay, doctor. Yeah,
Good.
if that's what they want, and then it's like,
Well, you gotta
well,
cover your
that's what
ass so they don't do something stupid.
Yeah.
they are
absolutely.
doing something.
Nobody
They
is going to ever
have. They
maintain
are.
responsibility.
Out of 5 medications, I have 1 left. 1,
Oh my God.
and it's next. I have Vimpat.
You have
We just
Vimpat?
ended the pre-gambling, and they don't want to give me any more benzodiazepines because there was, an attempt. I overdosed on my anti-epileptic drugs because
shit.
I was seizing. I didn't know that.
Right.
So I have only Vimpat, and they're talking about reducing that dose. So I had to reach out to not only the Epilepsy Foundation, but an organization called the National Association of the Epilepsy Centers. So shaking cages, and I don't know if these people are doing what they said they were going to do as far as the state and the association, But this happened today when they told me, well, don't take Benadryl. No, I asked you what I could take. I know what I can't take. And it took back and forth, back and forth. And I'm like, okay, I'm bored now. I'll go and I'll call my friend who's a pharmacist back. This is my epileptologist at a level 4 epilepsy center. Bing, 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 red flag.
Yeah, sounds like you should come to California. We got Stanford. It just seems like the gold standard of
Gold standard at Stanford.
hospitals.
You know it, bro. Not only do you have the gold standard, you also have Dr. Sumi Agarwal, and he has fellowship at Stanford. He's from, I can't remember. He's in the Triangle. He's either Washington or Oregon, but he is a multidisciplinary medical doctor that works with natural remedies, and he's part of the study at Stanford for the use of psychedelics in hospice patients.
Really?
Yeah. So yeah, I would in a heartbeat. I would be like, oh hey, but where do I stay?
Right.
I don't have the money for the plane ticket. You know what I mean? It's like,
Right.
yeah.
Yeah, Stanford's
But I
great.
mean, so is Johns Hopkins.
Yeah,
And that's
UCSF
the next
isn't
thing.
awful. They haven't killed me yet. And if I
Right.
say no to the surgery, they don't crack my head without my consent.
Yeah, they don't make you feel bad. Oh yeah, oh my God. Yeah, we don't want to talk about things that were done without my consent.
Yeah.
But yeah, certain burn marks are very distinctive. You can't hide them. I have scars. I literally have scars
Jeez.
from no consent ECT. And I went into status epilepticus. That was the I think it was like 18 hours I was in status from ECT.
And nobody will
like,
accept responsibility for that.
No, because they were in a hospital. They were a psych rehab. They're not responsible.
And
We don't
somebody
care
wrote
that it
the
was
order.
tattooed. We don't care that it was tattooed on your arm. Somebody thought this would be good for you. They suggested it. We did it. They're not a medical professional. We just followed blah, blah, blah. So I wake up with, I don't know if you've ever seen it. It's a very distinctive burn from those electrodes.
But no, I haven't. But I
Yeah.
had a friend that wanted to get it done for another reason. Yeah.
Well,
for
that was
psychiatric reason. Yeah.
Yeah, when I was coming around, and that's what it's. I don't agree with it. Okay, but that's me. But when I came around, it was only a few hours later that I ended up having a seizure because not only did they do that, they took me off my anticonvulsants.
Why did they do that? No,
Because somebody said I needed to be committed to a psych rehab, that my epilepsy was a psychiatric issue, and they believed family report over medical.
You have had such a hard life. I know.
And this is where it's like, okay, I've had it. I can't even put the energy into being pissed off and angry. I just have to fix it. And in fixing it, it's like, okay, I'll bring you guys with me. Realm of Caring is behind me. The NAEC is just the agent that I talk to. She's like, I can't do it. I can't take this case. And she said, I'm going to be retiring this autumn, this Thanksgiving. And I think I changed my mind and I may retire sooner because these cases are getting worse and worse. And epilepsy centers are losing accreditation over these things. And nothing would make me happier than to see them not lose the accreditation, but to actually meet the accreditation rather than say they're a level 4. Because the agent did tell me last week, she said this was a self-proclamation. We did not give them level 4 accreditation, but they put it on everything. And, I knew last year, I'm like, no, you're not level 4. If you can't do that test, you're not level 4. You can't give me a different NP to work with, you're not level 4. No other neurologist. I have a whole bouquet of red flags. And, I would like to see some improvement, but if it means shutting them down, They can be an epilepsy clinic,
Mhm.
but they can't be part of the Association of Epilepsy Centers.
Right.
But I know, it's like the more I talk to you guys and the more I've reached out to my friends in the cannabis community, and I'm like, what the hell? What the hell?
Yeah.
I'm talking about this shit happened to me. I can't even believe this shit happened. And I feel really bad, because like Tom, he's like, oh my God, I can't believe this.
Yeah.
And Reese, it's like, hey, I feel really bad, but this is what's happening.
This.
And it's happening to a lot of people.
Yeah. Mm.
But
It's
So
terrible.
out of all of this, I mean, I understand it's got to be a ridiculous assumption to assume that you've learned anything, but at this point, are you thinking we should all just document care on our own? You think it'd be
absolutely.
too easy for them to just erase something from my chart if there were serious complications that are going to
Yes,
impact their livelihood?
Right.
they do. Kate, yes. And when you talk about my chart, yes, print whatever you can.
Yeah. Because it
Ask them when
changes and it
yes,
erases
because they will
sometimes.
change it.
It
But
vanishes.
they can make all the changes they want. Those changes are saved in the system database called Epic.
Oh, really? Yeah. Oh, right.
So
Yeah. Yeah.
all I have to do is who and when. This is what it said originally. That's what it says now. Who and when. Who
Right.
changed it and when. And then did they have the authority to do so?
Okay.
But those are usually questions that the legal staff has to get into. I'm not going to pay for a lawyer,
Right.
but they do have most every healthcare organization has a what's called compliance. They have a corporate compliance management system, and it's not set up for the benefit of either the patient or the hospital or network. It is set up to minimize risk. So when a patient like me goes to corporate compliance and says, this is continuing, here is my preliminary legal proposition. Here are the subpoenas we already had to submit just to get my medical records.
Right.
And here's my lawyer's name in case I have to, if I need to, I will. But don't make me do this. And I'm already halfway through I asked you not to make me do this, and here we are. But why are they doing it? And I wish I was the only person. I really do. And I'm grateful that so many of you guys and I'm not devaluing this in any way. You really had it pretty easy. You came upon your diagnosis, rather swiftly in the treatment. Other than Reese, I mean, I can really relate. I can truly relate to Reese because I'm not sure if I even want them to put anything in my head. I don't even want them taking blood from me at this point or putting me under anesthesia, for God's sake. Who knows what they'll do to me. But, I do not trust any of these doctors here anymore. And I'm so grateful to hear stories where you guys aren't going through this. But, you get outside of this group, and especially in the cannabis community. Even before these people chose to use cannabis, they were going through stuff like this. It's unprofessional. It's unethical. In the entire country is violating basic medical principle when it comes to epilepsy. If you have an epilepsy diagnosis, patient presents unknown symptoms, you treat the epilepsy first. Because if they're not having a seizure, they could. And that's policy, that's protocol. That's just the way it's supposed to be done. And they don't anymore. Now it's what drugs did you take? These are psychogenic. They'll put you in as a 5150. I don't know if you know what a 5150 is.
Yeah.
I do.
That's where somebody
That's an
gets against
involuntary
your will,
cycle.
right?
Yeah,
That's
I love drugs
involuntary.
connected to the chair, like
Yep.
handcuffs, both chair, on the
Yeah,
end of
both
both seats.
shoulders.
And
Yeah,
then there's
both my
I'm in a
shoulders.
room with a bunch of other people doing the same thing.
That's kind of like Baker acted,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah, my elbows were totally inverted. I can't think of the name. Both my shoulders were dislocated and my head was below my knees in that chair because I seized and I dislocated both my shoulders.
Oh God.
Oh my God.
They said
But I'm
I
still
threatened to
cycled.
commit suicide. They said, so when you threaten to commit suicide, even if it's during a seizure, yeah, like I said, I woke up connected to a chair, handcuffs on both wrists.
Oh, like that's gonna help suicidality? Oh, that
I
helps,
don't know
right?
how I got there. So
Right.
I just had to black out until I got there. I don't know. I couldn't imagine what I was looking like. And
Oh God, I
that's
know.
actually a seizure. So yeah.
Reese taking off. Okay, honey.
Yeah, look,
Byron,
sweetheart, please get some
it's just
medical
it's some,
help there. I
Hang
don't
in there.
think your doctor's doing exactly what they're supposed to. I'm not a doctor, so just
Exactly.
looking
But
to
we're
Don't
here.
wait on them. Don't wait on them, Reese, please. For you and
That's
your
right.
wife's sake, don't wait on them.
Right.
Yeah.
Be patient
Be
advocate.
proactive.
I love you, dear. If you
Okay.
need me, you can find me on Reddit. I am that dynamically disabled crazy lady. Outspoken and yeah. But if you need me, just DM me.
And
Okay.
you know who I am. I'm
We're all
always
right here. I
here.
got notifications on.
Me too.
All right.
See
Love
you
you,
All
Reese.
right. Talk to you soon,
love
Reese.
you,
See you
Reese.
later.
Bye.
Peace.
Love you guys.
Bye, love.
Feel better, honey.
Oh, it's so heartbreaking. I don't get it. I don't get it. And I do understand the limitations, you know, in medicine, at least some of them. I mean, if you can't get the whole cyst or tumor out of, the brain, you really don't want to stir up too much brain tissue.
Right.
My
Oh, okay. Yeah, I
son-in-law's
guess I
mom
could see
just
that.
had, yeah, she just had a tumor removed last year. And it was nice, clean in the mesial temporal cavern, right in the crevasse, and I'm like, oh, you had a medial, you know, yeah, she had a glioma and no cancer, nothing. And it came out whole. And she said she never had a seizure. She was completely asymptomatic, but she got COVID.
Oh.
And because she was so sick, they did a full body CT scan and they found this thing in her brain. But she never had a single symptom. And they took it out within a year of finding it.
That's crazy.
And
Yeah.
I'm like, okay, but, and she's like, I'm so grateful. And she's like, I don't understand why you can't find help. It's not my fault.
It's
It isn't
not.
my fault.
Yeah, it feels like if you just didn't have epilepsy, everything would be a lot easier to find help.
It was.
Was
Ironically,
before.
yeah.
It was. It certainly was.
God.
And, and knowing the difference and recognize it so distinctly, the difference between how you're treated as a medical patient as opposed to how you're treated as a psych patient is one of the most unsettling things I've seen in healthcare.
Mhm.
Um, yeah, yeah, especially after that psych rehab. It's like, what the heck? Yeah.
It's like,
And
what
I
did I
haven't,
do? Like,
yeah,
what's going on? Is anybody going to explain anything? No one
Yeah.
comes in there to say anything. There's a room full of people connected. Some of them are going crazy. Some of them are just sitting there watching.
yeah,
But it
but
was
you're
a
just stuck there
There.
and
weird
nobody's there to
experience.
talk to you. There's no call button. Even if there was, it's not in your hand.
Yeah, you
So then
can't
what
reach it.
happens if you have cluster seizures? You had one seizure that got you put there because they thought something else was going on. And then you wake up, come out of it, and you have another seizure, but this time it goes tonic-clonic status epilepticus. That's how both of my shoulders ended up in my ass.
And it's
So,
just luck that you
yeah,
didn't stop breathing. I mean,
Yeah.
honestly.
I did. I did.
Oh, okay. Yeah, see, that's
I
not
did.
good.
I
That's
was
great.
I was intubated. I think that one was 9 days.
Holy shit. I'm so
But I
sorry.
was in status for 18 hours. They had to put the emergency electrodes on. And that was in 2012. So it's like I'm done with feeling like I'm going to a court hearing when I go to a doctor's appointment. But I finally got to the point where if that's how they want to treat me, that's what they're going to get. I have an appointment in 3 weeks with my neurologist, and I'm not even going to get him ready for it. He doesn't deserve it,
Yeah.
you know. And the only thing that I've been told is you should have been communicating with the nurses. Well, you can see why I didn't, because the one thing he said wouldn't happen again happened. So that's
Have you
why I
considered
didn't.
the avenue of just finding a new neurologist so they can just get
There's
that
only 2
patient
left in
that
this
records
entire city.
request?
I have to move. I literally have
That's
to
what I'm
move.
saying. I mean, for the 2 years leading up to the RNS, we were going to 10. It was a 3-hour drive for every appointment.
I can't. I have nobody to
Yeah,
do that for me. I can't do that.
yeah.
So, and I was going to stay in Baltimore and get the IC electrodes. I don't know if you guys, well, you had SEEG. You know what they call the spaghetti electrodes? They're literally injected in the base of the skull, and it's through that scope, and they put it in and they open up,
Oh, yeah.
and like they move them, and they're between the skull and the brain.
Right.
So it's the least invasive option, and they'll just leave them in there. But we were going to do that in 2019. And I would have been perfectly fine staying there. But I didn't plan on spending $4,000 on rent in a hotel in Baltimore because my sister made me homeless because she couldn't handle what a real seizure looked like. She couldn't handle it. So that's and I'm like, I'm done here.
Yeah.
I'm done. I've gone through the suicide attempt, being accused of a suicide attempt, the accusation of being a drug addict. Um, I'm gonna start calling the shots here and showing them right what they did to me. My therapist is gonna be there on Zoom at that appointment because she has plenty to say to them now because they're not responding to her either. And a level 4 epilepsy center is supposed to have the type of specialized behavioral therapy that they want me to have. And nobody in the entire state of New York can find what they're telling me I need. So I had to get my psych team talking to my neurology team, and now they're all mad at me. Well, not really, but it's like, well, I guess this is called standard protocol, aka doing your job. And if you can't, well, okay, we'll let your director take that up with the compliance department, but I have to find another neurologist. There's only 2 left. So in 5 years, I've seen 6 of them. No, I don't even want to find a new primary. Rumor has it that she might be sitting in the psych hospital right now, but I'm not sure. This was a crazy weekend.
Yeah, wow. Well,
In the meantime, I was also thinking when she said earlier, what came to mind, she said, I was excited to know there was other people going through this. I was excited to know there was other people going through this.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I've never met anyone who has seizures or like
Yeah, but
I've
now learning and
I've
people say I have
contemplating this.
cousins or stuff like that, but I never heard
my
anyone.
my mom is on a Facebook list for parents of people who have epilepsy, and every now and then she'll be like, "Hey, I've got someone you could message who has epilepsy," but it never works. It never ends up working out. So like, I've had at all. It's it just it's just gotten to a point where it's like I feel like if she says, "Hey, I've got somebody who you can talk to," I feel like okay, we're gonna message once, and then they're either gonna ghost me or it's gonna get weird, and I'm gonna feel like I need to go. So this has been great. You guys are awesome.
Yeah, this
Oh,
is awesome because I mean, talk
I
about
love this.
eye-opening.
I love seeing you guys on, in real life. I mean, it's as close as we can get, but
Yeah.
I mean, we all have our glitches. Like I'm real agitated right now. I'm seeing Reese, or Rachel, you're doing your thing. And then there's Kate and Pookie, just totally chill, totally chill. I mean, you guys,
I wouldn't say
but
chill. I would say distracted. I gotta tell my son
I
not to
try
put
to
this
yeah,
prop in his mouth over and over, and yeah,
I
I
I
try
got
to
gotta
other
get
go
in
things
in
there
going
there.
every
on.
now and then, but you always have a great story, and I can't just like cut in. There's certain parts I just can't relate to, so I'm just listening
Yeah.
to it. And everyone else is listening to your story, so I just let them listen. And when I get a chance, I'll get in there. But yeah, for a
Let me
long
know.
time, I was trying to introduce the new guy, but
I'm so
you
sorry,
had a
man.
nice story going, and I was like, yeah, eventually.
No, you're
Oh,
the one that like opens eyes every time, because I mean this I don't remember what it was last time at this point, because now my mind is just racing about like large scale medical malpractice.
Yeah.
yeah. And
You know,
we are
A
among
lot
the
of
most vulnerable in the
get the
medical
muzzle.
community. We're more vulnerable than those with cancer
Well,
Yeah, I mean
because
in Florida they
they
just
can,
always preach about aging populations, but
a
it's
lot of a lot
right.
of people
So
a
when you
lot of
put,
people
yeah.
who I've met don't even
Oh,
know what
sorry.
epilepsy is. Like I had a classmate in a biology class a little while back, and she just thought when I said I had epilepsy, up until she got to know me, she just thought I meant I had narcolepsy. She didn't know what
I don't
epilepsy
even know
was.
what narcolepsy is. What is
Narcolepsy is like
narcolepsy?
sleeping too much. It's like it's
you
But
randomly fall asleep.
yeah,
Yeah,
it's randomly
okay.
right,
it's
falling
another
but
asleep
one where
because
you can't drive.
and then I was with I have a disability only musical
sorry,
theater,
guys.
and I was it didn't seem like anybody there. Like I was backstage waiting for us to come up, and it didn't seem like anybody there knew what epilepsy was either. One of them was like I mentioned, I took my medicine a little slightly off, and one of them was like, "Please don't have an epilepsy attack." And I was like, "Do you mean a seizure?" And the person was like, "Yeah, a seizure.
Yeah,
Don't
that
have that
thing
either."
right there, whatever that is.
Yeah. And then after that, another person was like, I just like mentioned epilepsy, and the person was like, "Oh yeah, what's that?" I was like, "Oh, it's my disability," and and she was like, "Well, what is it?" And I was like, "Makes you have seizures?" And they were like, "Oh, okay, yeah." It's just like nobody knows what it is, and it's like epilepsy awareness is dead. The other day I was the other day I was just in my mom's car, and I saw one of those purple ribbons, and I was like, "Oh yeah, epilepsy awareness." And mom was like, "Well, don't get too excited. It might not be." I'm like, "But it's purple." And we drive a little closer, and it says homeless awareness. I'm like,
What?
No, we can't even get an exclusive color now.
"No."
No, what?
Oh, you guys, I know it's rough, but I was just thinking, okay, I have to put in the iPad password. Okay, now he's set. But yeah, what I was just thinking about was how much worse it is compared to other cultures, because I'm thinking, okay, what started this conversation, or me seeking out essentially somebody from another place with epilepsy, was that you can get a medical alert card for free in the UK. If I try to order it to, or not order it, but if I try to print it here, it says call 999, and that's why I decided it would be just as easy to just kind of design my own. I'll get around to PowerPoint one of these days and put all the same info on there.
Mhm.
But then I'm chatting with somebody who posted in, I think it was the other epilepsy chat, and they were just sounding really like lowest of the low, and described a lot of cultural differences. They live in UAE, so it's at United Arab Emirates, but grew
Right.
up in Pakistan.
Mm-hmm.
And the cultural differences of ever just being punished. If you complain about the punishment, you have to get beat 10 times worse.
Oh my gosh.
And this guy is saying here that, so yeah, I'm a little busy at work. He initiated the chat after I commented on just look at yourself as a warrior for surviving this long, and check out your resources, see if you can gain some independence from, apparently he's working as an intern at his stepfather's company. During this chat, he reveals it's customer service, So I'm trying to convince him, obviously you have people skills, you can use that in other, professions. And he said he was going to try to be here now, but over there, I guess it's like 11 o'clock at night right now. And he's just saying he couldn't make it, but
I think the worst thing that somebody can do, no matter what culture they're from, is to make somebody feel like something is their fault when it's their disability. They can't control, you can't control your disability, and to punish somebody for having a seizure, like, I already feel like I just got run over by like 3 different trucks when I come out
And
of the.
then you've got your extra guilt for like
And then
making your
yeah.
family feel bad or whatever.
Yeah, and then I always
Traumatizing
making
them,
my family feel bad. If somebody like went up to me and was like, "How could you do that? You let us all down for having," and if I had been raised in a way that like made me feel like, yeah, if I have a seizure, it's my fault. I'm just looking for attention. I'm just acting out. I would genuinely be like, "Oh, what's wrong with me?" And like, I have such severe epilepsy that before my surgeries, I was having a seizure a week. So I would just be like, probably not even have a will to live at that point. I would just be like, I don't know. I can't stop. Like, it is just so awful.
It was like that at first for me too. I was just like, why can't I not stop having seizures? Just like in the beginning, I was just like,
So sorry.
1, 2, 3, 4, and I was just like, okay, I'm having these in front of friends now. Why isn't this like stopping? What is going on? Like they gave me this medication that's not working, and then I use it again for 6 more years, and yeah. Eventually, after 6 years of that, they took me to Keppra for another 5 to 6 years, and now I've been on Lamictal for 6 years. I'm somewhere around there, rounded off. Yeah. And also, what I was going to say about the narcolepsy thing is my daughter's mom has narcolepsy. So there'd be like conversations if you're having them too long. Well, how Rochester Ann, how we call her, how she like tells stories.
Mhm.
My daughter's mom would be asleep.
Oh,
She'd be
really?
asleep. She'd be asleep
Yeah.
5 minutes in.
Wow.
If you
Yeah.
don't let her talk and she's not part of this conversation, she's going to sleep. Just listening. Out of it. So,
Like, does she remember? Like, does she remember?
You're doing better now.
she has narcolepsy. And when I met her, she was like, and I told her I had epilepsy. She was like, oh, my mom has epilepsy and I have narcolepsy. And I was like, oh, okay. I know what both of those are, but I was just like, all right. So
Well,
mine isn't genetic, so my daughter isn't gonna get epilepsy from me. I don't know her mom's story. I think she was born with narcolepsy, and I don't know how that goes though. So I actually need to look into that.
It must be rare.
You can't get epilepsy from me.
No,
It's not genetic.
right? Because you had an accident, just like me. I can't
Right.
give it to any of my
And
kids, even though
but
bizarrely they have a penicillin allergy from their father and their grandfather and their great grandfather. How crazy is that?
Right.
that's insane.
And they actually told me that's not possible. You can't get a hereditary penicillin allergy until all of them ended up with a freaking penicillin allergy. I told them and they wouldn't believe me. And daggone
yeah,
it, I
right.
was right.
Oh, that can't happen. Yeah, that doesn't happen. I'm like, oh,
Never, never. And I'm like,
right.
well, I don't know why everybody's got it then. That's one of
Yeah.
the weird things. It's not supposed to happen.
yeah, that's my favorite when you can prove something wrong to a doctor, they can't deny it, and then they just, try to make this give themselves like an absent look and find some
Oh,
file or
yeah.
something to
Yeah.
focus on while they come up with
That's
some
what
kind
I'm
of
doing
like
in 3 weeks.
Thank you.
exactly.
Already heated up.
Exactly.
I'm gonna love every minute of it. I know I am. And
Oh,
I don't want to go in there and be hostile, but it'll be like, okay, so normally by now, the any epilepsy would have offered a patient like me this. And I need to know why I haven't. You know what I mean? It's like they're not
Right.
even matching the protocol of epilepsy centers. So it's like, yeah, I'm going to go in there with printed paper and a recording device. So, yeah.
It's sad that it has to be that far. Has to do all that.
Exactly.
Even like the recording
Gone
device,
too far.
you have to bring even that.
Right. Well, I had one guy, he was like, "Are you recording me?" Yes. I don't want you to. Oh, you just gave me even more reason why I should. And he was adamant. He's like, "No, you can't do that. I have epilepsy. You are my epilepsy doctor. I am here alone. I need to remember what you say to me." And he
There
wouldn't let
you
me
go.
record him. And he said if I didn't turn it off, he would end the appointment. And I just sat there and stared at him and didn't touch my phone. And all I could say was, "You do realize everything that you said up to now has been recorded." That's all I had to say.
So total
Yeah.
opposite of using that as motivation to prove yourself as an upstanding doctor who actually gives a shit. That's not going to
Right.
happen in any of these appointments.
And it's like, oh no, I'm too stupid to figure that out.